I'm here to talk about Upland, and this is my story. Basically, it all started a little over a year ago. Started back at the end of January. Been playing pretty much almost every day since. Was able to grow. I started with $70, and that quickly ramped up to 1,400 of my own money put in, and then that grew from 2,000 to 3,000, all the way going until about 21,000. And I was cashing out money along the way. You did have to wait a while before you could start to cash out any money, but I think I maybe cashed out over 20,000 US to date through various means. I mean, I was selling property for USD beforehand through PayPal, but yeah, I would say a good roughly 20,000 USD cashed out. Now my net worth lays around 14,500. Today being the stress test, of which, by the way, is titled a stress test for Upland, but can oftentimes be more stressful for the users. This is in part by there's a collection area. Could be it's a very prominent street in Las Vegas, Las Vegas Boulevard. There only being 8 properties released in the stress test neighborhood made it a hot commodity. I was fortunate enough to get one and I sold it. But this stuff, for example, could cause a lot of stress. Even though I got one of these properties and was fortunate enough, there is still stress about selling it, and then you want to make sure you get the right price, etc. And of course, it'll come with every city opening, but the stress test that Upland is testing for is to test their servers and not to test our own stress. But in short, the reason why I make this video is Upland isn't the same game as it was before, or platform. Back when I joined, there was not many cities. There was maybe Fresno, Manhattan, and San Francisco, and that is all sold out now, which took quite a while back when I joined to sell out. Which sounds pretty crazy to say, given the prices for both those cities. You were able to buy Manhattans for like $14 before. You were able to mint it for less. Anyways, there being, I can't even keep track anymore, 17, 18 cities now released in Upland. This means that the ability to sell out is not going to be the same as before. Now, user growth obviously has increased immensely. I think back when I was playing, maybe maximum of 20,000 people even knew about Upland, the platform. So you can imagine now that having close to 500,000 unique accounts and land holders, or don't quote me on that, but at least daily active users reaching over 300,000, you could imagine there'd be over 500,000 unique accounts. But it's a different game. Yes, there's more players, but there's also a huge price demand to sell out these cities. Los Angeles is sat increasing maybe 1% a month since its inception, and Detroit is an off example because it's an FSA city. All the FSA players are going to start there to get the cheapest properties, so it'll sell out a bit faster. Though it'll also take a lot longer for the floor to rise because these FSA players will be selling 2 a week for the next few months to come. But when cities do sell out, we have seen Bakersfield, even it being a starter city in Staten Island, the markup from mint, it can get up there. Manhattan is sitting around 400%, but those aren't oftentimes the types of properties you want to sell for 400% mint. But anything you minted in Bakersfield was selling at like 130% cost. Like, you've made 30% on your money in less than a year, which is that's a lot better than the stock market. And though it is a lot harder to get your money out and it's a riskier asset, you're dealing with NFTs and virtual real estate. Upland, it still pays. So now you're not doubling your money every 2 months. Or you're not able to do exactly as I kind of skyrocketed my net worth in as little time as I did, but it doesn't mean you can't still profit in waiting. So take Queens, LA, Detroit, Kansas, Nashville, and now Las Vegas. These are all unsold cities. They have a lot of properties minted within, and they're close, but there's still a lot of money that needs to be plugged through them to get them up to where they need to be. Detroit is a little harder, but it is still in the same boat. You could, now is a great time too, as in these properties have been on the market for quite a while. There's been a lot of money poured in already. You're about 70% of the way there for all of them except for Vegas, as it's only had its stress test, but there is money in waiting, and you would be a great time to get in now, as you've already waited, or if you're new, not waited, but already had a good month to 2 months wait. Nashville's case, maybe even up to 4 months of wait time for it to sell out. So you'll be closing the line. It's not going to be an overnight profit, but it'll be a few months. You'll expect a decent little return. Now, there are a few exceptions. New Orleans has been sold out for a bit. The markup floor is still roughly the same, but it's getting there. It's chipping away. New Orleans would also be a decent one to buy in near the markup floor. It's nearing 100% markup, which is mint price. Anything below that 100% number will be under mint. Regardless, though, it is a waiting game. Upland is a waiting game, and though it seems like some players can make a lot of money overnight very fast, it's because they waited first. And so buy now, you wait until later. One of the biggest plus sides to Upland is that it does not involve itself in cryptocurrencies or is susceptible to mass sell-offs. Now, of course, one player could theoretically take 100 Manhattans and list them all, but he is demanding quite a price from a smaller user base. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't do the exact same thing with an even smaller user base with cryptocurrency and try to offload all your crypto, but the point I'm trying to make is you could sell all your crypto at the price you see, and as it drops because you've sold and there's less demand, you have to keep hitting these new bids lower and lower, right? You'll lose X amount of money and it'll drive the price down completely, right? With Upland, it's an entirely different case. It's you buy the property and then you have to sell each one individually. You couldn't put in a mass order for selling unless you were to make a deal with someone or through a third-party messaging app. But Upland, it allows you to really take control. Upland allows you to really feel the gauge of the market. So if you listed 2 properties and neither of them sold within 2 days, you're not going to want to go list 5 more. But if those 2 properties sold within 2 hours, you'd be inclined to go sell more, right? And then you're not going to overflood the market because buyers are wary of what's the next price. Like, I want to resell this. I'm not buying it to hold it forever. Virtually no one in Upland is buying to hold forever. So what is that next price? You sell it, great, put another one up. Don't list 5 at once. Now, if you're lazy and you just want to list and forget, and you do put 5 up at once, you might sell 4, you might sell 5. But in case you sell 3 or 2 or 1, and then those other 4 get buried, and more keep getting listed underneath, you're part of the blockage that's causing that price to stay lower and lower. See, if your 4 that didn't sell get removed, now it's all of a sudden a lot easier for those 3 other people who underbid you to get bought out, and the price is right back to where you were. So if you list 1 at a time, those 3 people that underbid you, you're just the 4th that gets bought. But all of a sudden, when there's 7 or 8 or 9 properties that need to all be bought, it's a little bit of an ask. And most of the average player doesn't have thousands and thousands of dollars to invest at any given time. Most people are playing 1 property at a time, and so you can't necessarily always bury yourself, but it would be most wise to list 1 at a time. This also helps the market, and if you truly believe in helping the price of the market, it would be better not to list altogether, but that's not simply how Upland works. It's a property flipping game, and we all need to take our money out and go. And there is not a greater fool, but someone else wanting to own that property you own for a select price. So you can take it and move on.